Good Monday morning, everyone. Welcome back. You're watching the Kaiser Report. We've been gone for a few days here as a result of me getting a massive head cold midweek last week, and we missed broadcasting for Thursday and Friday, and for that I apologize. However, we're back today feeling stronger than ever, and it's been a week, a 4-day weekend that has been full of a lot of things to look at and talk about with regard to not only Donald Trump, but the happenings with the pardoning of Hunter Biden by Dad, which is really, really interesting to me after all of the talk about, oh, I'll never do that. No, I have no intentions of pardoning him. Blah, blah, blah. For a year and a half, we've heard from Karine Jean-Pierre and Biden himself about that the president would not be pardoning his son for anything. And then we get the news that there is a blanket pardon coming out that covers from 2014 to present, and any further crimes that they uncover about him, he's automatically pardoned for. Is this constitutional? We don't know that. It doesn't sound like something that would be, but I'm sure that there'll be people looking into this. Mainstream media has lost their mind over that, and people questioning why he would do this after assuring the entire world that he was not going to get involved in a pardoning of his son, who has been convicted, literally, and is upcoming sentencing is now canceled. And Joe Biden would like to blame a corrupt justice system that he's in charge of and weaponized to go after Donald Trump for a lot lesser problems that he was dragged through the courts of New York by Alvin Bragg and Letitia James on trumped-up charges, no pun intended, and there you have it. So, well, here, just take a look at this.
All a lie. It is all a grift. Every American, except the most partisan, brain-rotted people, are going to be outraged by this today. He is going to leave off. You think 38, 39% job approval is bad? Just you wait. Just you wait. He's disgraced today. Outrageous.
You don't need to, but Scott, you don't need to hurl names and say people like me are brain-rotted. Come on, that's a little beyond the pale, even for you, Scott.
Listen,
I disagree. We can disagree about this.
You don't have to defend this. He's leaving office. You don't have to defend it. You don't have to die on this hill. You can say this is wrong because everybody knows that it is. It's wrong. Are you fine with the lying? Are you fine with him sitting before the election all year and lying to the American people? Are you fine with the lying about it?
I don't think that he was lying. I think he made a decision after the fact and decided this was the right thing for him and for his family. Period, full stop.
But let me ask you, will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes.
You have.
Wow. Joe Biden, Karine Jean-Pierre, how many minutes of tape do we have of both of these people telling the American people this will not happen?
But from a presidential perspective, is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
Well,
I just said no. I just answered.
The president would not pardon or commute the sentences for his son, Hunter. I just want to make sure that that is not going to change over the next 6 months. The president's saying he would not.
It's still a no. It's still a no.
It will always be a no.
It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no, and I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No.
I mean, we could play it all morning. It's a lie. And it's a lie to benefit his own family, and that's all that it is. And everybody who went on TV and said, oh, look how he's the modern George Washington, he's drained every ounce of credibility from every surrogate. If Karine Jean-Pierre had an ounce of self-respect, she'd get off the plane in Africa today, where they're going, so he can avoid the press and resign. He's drained all of her credibility, and everybody else who's defended this, it's draining for them forever.
Well, and Karen, to be fair, Joe Biden, we did play that sound earlier, did flat out say on multiple occasions, and the press secretary did, that he would not pardon Hunter Biden.
He sure did. And I will tell you that he probably heard from a lot of people who said, you know what, sir, go ahead and do it. You should go ahead and protect your son, because who knows what Trump and Trump's Department of Justice will do.
This is a simple lie detector. I'll ask you a few yes or no questions, and you just answer truthfully. Do you understand?
You ain't black. I'm extremely proud of my son, Hunter. He has overcome an addiction. He's one of the brightest, most decent men I know. And I am satisfied that I'm not going to do anything. I said I'd abide by the jury decision, and I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
It's quite interesting. I find it quite interesting that that all this is taking place. And it's very, very interesting in this holiday season that we're entering right now to have all this going on and a distraction from what's taking place in the nominations of the appointments that Donald Trump has made for his cabinet. There's a lot of nonsense going on there. There's a lot of backroom deals being garnered by rhinos that are dead set against standing in or approving any of his picks, especially when it comes to the justice side of things, which indicates to me that there's a lot of guilt that people are worried about coming out with regard to some of the nonsense that they have pulled, the money laundering, the insider trading, and the weaponization of the FBI, the CIA, and other organizations, and the fear that Doge that he's putting together will come after their jobs, number one, in the down section of employees that do nothing and sit at home and get a paycheck, and in an effort to reduce the deficit and try to get to a point where we can look at maybe having a balanced budget coming up in this next administration, or at least the start of a program to get a balanced budget. And it may go into the next administration for that to happen, but it's coming. And the fear in the rhinos sitting in the Senate and in the House right now is palpable, and they're making no bones about it. They don't want to approve certain things. They went after Getz, and now they're after two or three other people, but Donald Trump has come out and said that he will defend Tulsi Gabbard and Pete Hegseth as far as his nomination pick is solid with these people. And we'll see what happens with that. But the big news over the weekend was the reopening and reconsecration of the Notre Dame that burned several years ago. And in 5 years, they have managed to bring this beautiful cathedral back to its original and even improved on some aspects of it as they went along with the restoration and the cleanup efforts that was monumental, in my estimation, a task that they undertook. And people from all over the world donated time, energy, artisans, and dollars, which brings me to bring to you an interesting fact that I came up with over the weekend after listening to all that went on at Notre Dame and what went into the restoration. To restore Notre Dame, it cost $1 billion to get that reopened. Now, let's look in context at the money spent on the Kamala Harris campaign, which was $1.5 million. Sorry, $1 billion. $1 billion to achieve absolutely nothing but line the pockets of already rich celebrities. But for that $1 million, sorry, $1 billion, $1 billion, they were able to bring back to its beautiful magnificence the cathedral called Notre Dame. Think about that for a minute.
I'll be damned. I'll be damned.
So here's a little footage that you can look at that took place with Donald Trump meeting with President Macron and his lovely wife on his arrival there and during the proceedings that followed. He seemed very interested. And a little later, we'll show you his reaction sitting next to Jill Biden and her daughter that were seated a scant seat away from Donald Trump. And there's a little clip that I'll show you here shortly that is an adoring look from Jill to the president-elect that is precious at best. And then a little funny meme attached to it. But here, take a look at some of the proceedings.
Seconds later. Five minutes later.
President, I just say it's a great honor for French people to welcome you 5 years later. And you were at that time President for the first time. And I remember the solidarity and your immediate reaction. So, welcome back again.
Well, thank you very much.
We are very happy to have you here.
Thank you very much. Very great honor.
Worried.
That's enough. That's enough.
Mr. President, I was going to ask one of the other folks.
That's enough.
Pardon me, ma'am. Mr. President.
That's enough.
Mr. President.
Every international meeting I attend, including just being in Germany, as we're walking out with the G20 or the G7, whatever it is, they'll pull me aside, one leader after another, quietly and say, Joe, you can't win. My democracy is at stake.
Work
of many different professions who have dedicated the best of
A few minutes later.
My God. Thank you very much. Very great honor.
Ta mère. Pas pour moi, mais pour elle.
What a magnificent, iconic cathedral that was almost lost and brought back to its original magnificence with massive improvements along the way. And the heads of state that attended were not worried about Donald Trump. They lined up to shake his hand, and were very happy to do so. There was a lot of exchange of ideas on his trip there with both Zelensky and Macron, and meetings took place with Prince William after the ceremonies. We don't know, or I can't tell you what took place in that conversation, but I'm sure it was good. The other fact is, and what makes me wonder is, does Zelensky even own a suit and tie? He shows up in front of Congress and in front of our Senate in a dirty sweatshirt with a jacket over it, a half military jacket. And then he shows up at this beautiful celebration in Paris for Notre Dame with the same outfit on. How disgraceful, and what a slap in the face to not only our Senate and Congress that fall all over themselves to hand this guy millions of dollars, billions of dollars, and then he shows up there, and I'm sure it was expressly to have a meeting with Macron and Trump to iron out what will be in this war between the Ukraine and Russia. And now with yesterday's news about the fall of Syria and Assad taking refuge in Moscow, there's a real concern right now with this Syrian problem, which I'm sure was discussed there by several of the leaders that were in attendance at the Notre Dame meeting. It's very disturbing to me that we don't know who is going to be in charge in the new Syrian government, if there is one put together. And Joe is already bombing things there and getting us involved. We have 900 ground troops, boots on the ground in Syria, that are now, in my belief, in harm's way until there's a settlement of which faction is going to take charge there and what will become of all of the political prisoners and this, that, and the other thing that probably has not been thought out very well. But we'll see in the next few days where that's going to go. But we have a mentally crippled president sitting in that seat for the next few weeks that is making decisions right now that will be detrimental to the world if he makes one mistake with this, and he's already made several, and it worries me that he is left in charge and we have an entire check and balance government that is doing nothing about questioning why he's allowed to do the things he's doing, causing and promoting a world war to take place so he can blame Donald Trump in January for what he's doing now. Maybe to save what's left of his shredded legacy, and it's ridiculous. So we have to keep an eye, a very wandering eye, on what's going on in the Middle East right now. I believe that the Syrian happening is a direct result of the Israeli conflict that's going on, that has drained Iran, and that have been backing the Hezbollah and the Hamas to have this war continue. And it's been drained, and I think that that Israel has done the job that they needed to do to weaken them to a point where now even Syria has gotten rid of Assad. So we'll see what happens there. But of course, you have people in these rebel factions that are firing guns in the air one more time and tearing down statues and carrying the statue's head. It's a very reminiscent to me of what took place with Saddam Hussein in Iraq, and I hope, as Donald Trump said, we don't need to be involved in this mess. They need to figure it out on their own. And Russia is giving asylum to Assad, and I'm sure that The Hague will be looking to charge him for war crimes, as they did with Putin, which will be of no avail, because I don't think either of them will take the trip to The Hague to explain themselves and put themselves in a position to be convicted. So a lot happened in the last 4 days. We live right now in a wonderful time to be alive, to watch what's going on, but also a very frightening time with one of these idiots making one mistake can cause the loss of a lot of lives, a country, or even the world as we know it, if somebody gets stupid with what's going on with the nuclear proliferation that's going on with some of these despots that have their hands on, or can get their hands on, these type of weapons. So prayer is our answer to making sure that the world stays safe. We need to pray for it, as we prayed for this past election. And we know what the outcome of prayer was there. And we're hoping that the world will come back to unison and save itself right now. And we have to do that through prayer. But I've missed being here for a few days. I was down and out, but it's been a chance for me to sit and read and watch the news cycles, both foreign news cycles and our own, which brings me to what is wrong with MSDNC that they would let this idiot, Morning Joe, and his communist wife, Mika Brzezinski, continue their lies and rants and misinformation to the public as they do. I urge you not to tune into that channel. I have to look at these people so I know both sides. So when I tell you something and I have the proof behind it, I know what I'm talking about. So I have to watch this, but please don't give them any ratings. Their ratings are already, since this election, in the toilet, which brings me to NBC's interview with Donald Trump last night, which was, at best, she tried every gotcha that she has to get him angry, and he didn't buy into it and handled it, I thought, beautifully. She tried everything, including the evil eyes, to get him to admit to things that they say is true that have no bearing or totally false about what he has said in the past or done in the past or what he is going to do. They're trying to get him to take action against his enemies, as they say, and he's not going to buy into it. He has a lot on his plate coming into the first day of office, and he's explained to her quite succinctly how Holman is going to take charge of getting these deportations, and it's criminals first. He's not splitting families, and so on and so on. She tried to bait him at every turn of events, and he didn't buy it. He held his own. He's going to do a great job, and he's got too much on his plate to run after Adam Schiff, and people of that nature to try and get revenge. As he said, the best revenge is success in bringing this country back to what it should be and has been in the past, and he knows how to do it, and there it is. That's his revenge. So we'll take a look at some of this interview.
They want everybody to come in. Come on in, everybody. Come on in. Yes, you killed 9 people, but we think you're going to be much better now.
Let me ask you about another group of people, the estimated 4 million families in America who have mixed immigration status. So I'm talking about parents who might be here illegally, but the kids are here legally. Your borders are
You're talking about separation.
Yeah, well, I mean, there are two aspects to this. Your borders are, Tom Homan said, they can be deported together.
Is there a way to carry out mass deportation without separating families?
Of course there is. Families can be deported together.
I don't want to be breaking up families, so the only way you don't break up the family is you keep them together and you have to send them all back. Excuse me, Kristen.
Yeah.
We don't have to separate families. Yeah. We'll send the whole family very humanely back to the country where they came. That way the family's not separated.
So no more family separations. You're not reviving the zero tolerance policy. Well, it depends on the family. The family may decide to say, I'd rather have Dad go, and we'll stay here. And in which case they have that option. But you're not going to revive your zero tolerance policy, which was put in place as a deterrent. Is there any universe where you would bring that back, sir?
We need deterrence. Look, ready? When somebody comes here illegally, they're going out. It's very simple. When they come here illegally, they're going out. Now, if they come here illegally, but their family is here legally, then the family has a choice. The person that came in illegally can go out, or they can all go out together.
Interesting, isn't it, how she can twist and turn and try to bait people. She is a terrible interviewer, a terrible person, and I'm surprised that he even gave her the time of day other than sitting down with her. It continues to be funny as hell. If you have a good sense of humor, you'll see the humor in it. I do. I see the humor in the drunken tirades that come out of the loser in this election. I see the irony that we can bring back an entire Gothic cathedral for $1 billion, and $1.5 billion couldn't win somebody an election. Unbelievable. But she took care of all her buds in Hollywood and all of the supposed superstars that appeared on her behalf and were paid to be there. They didn't think enough of her to donate their time or money. And out of that $1.5 billion that she absolutely blew through, the people in western North Carolina got nothing. How's that for a person who really cares for the population of the country that she is the sitting vice president for? Which brings me to the next thing. Joe Biden shows up in Africa, went to sleep during the entire presentation. We have that here for you to look at. And while he's there, throws $1 billion promise to Africa to rebuild after their destructive drought. New homes and all of the other stuff for the people in Africa. While the people in western North Carolina, Georgia, and East Tennessee are getting $700. That's reminiscent back to the time of the Maui fires, that each of those residents that are still paying for homes that are burned away got $700. But we can go to Africa and rebuild Africa and give them $1 billion. This is dementia at its finest. Where does he think this is coming from? Where does he think the people in western North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, East Tennessee are going to get the wherewithal to rebuild their lives, put their homes back together? Give me a break here, Joe. This guy is out of his ever-loving gourd. To do that in the midst of the suffering that's taking place in the country that he is the sitting president of. Take a look.
It's time to build back better.
This morning, heartbreak, confusion, and lack of communication. Days after massive wildfires destroyed the heart of western Maui, the desperate search for loved ones, with hundreds still unaccounted for. This stunning drone video showing rows of torched vehicles, now twisted husks, frozen in time.
So many people have died. My friends lost their grandparents in the fires. People are being found in their cars.
Think about that.
Oh my God.
Stunning scenes like this are playing out across the southeast today. Homes, vehicles, and trees proving to be no match against Hurricane Helene's remnants and the power of Mother Nature. And that unbelievable sight coming from the mountains of North Carolina, one place experienced a catastrophic impact due to this massive storm.
And the federal relief and assistance that we have been providing has included FEMA providing $750 for folks who need immediate needs being met, such as food, baby formula, and the like.
$750.
Oh, God. Wow. Wow. Okay.
But look at what I've inherited and what I've done. The United States continues to be the world's largest provider of humanitarian aid and development assistance. And that's going to increase. You know, that's the right thing for the wealthiest nation in the world to do. And today, I'm announcing over $1 billion in new humanitarian support for Africans displaced from homes by historic droughts and food insecurity.
Wait, what did he just say? Toby? What the hell did he just say?
And today, I'm announcing over $1 billion in new humanitarian support for Africans displaced from homes by historic droughts and food insecurity.
Help me!
Long live the king.
Hush up, boy.
The Biden administration's America Last philosophy, because it's America Last. It's America Last. That's all it is.
Hard to believe, isn't it? But it's true. So people in Africa are going to get new homes paid for by your tax dollars, while the people in our cities that have been devastated can whistle Dixie with $700. While FEMA, we know now, as corrupt as they were, if you were a Donald Trump supporter or had a sign or wore a red hat, you didn't even get a look-see by FEMA. It's unbelievable. So I guess that's quite enough for a Monday, but we've had to pack 4 or 5 days into it. But I wish you all a great rest of this Monday. I hope you enjoyed this broadcast. We'll be back to you tomorrow with the new Kaiser Report and probably some further information on the search that's going on for the gunman that blew away the CEO of United Healthcare, which is a puzzlement in its own right on how this could have taken place. Number one, I'm very familiar with 54th Street and the Hilton there in that area and the businesses that surround that area. It's mind-boggling on how it could have taken place, number one, with the police presence that's there in that area around the Avenue of the Americas. It's puzzling. And now they think that he's escaped and gotten out of the city, and they're going to continue the search. And for the gun, I guess it was a veterinary gun that was used, and they think that he threw it in the lake at Central Park. So the divers are out there in the cold weather and cold water trying to find the weapon, and they believe now that he took a bus out of the city and went down to Atlanta. So they're going to continue the search in Atlanta. I guess the FBI will be involved in that. And if they do as good a job as they did with the attempted assassinations on Trump, I wouldn't hold your breath for an arrest there. But that's what we have to fix, and Donald Trump will get that fixed. So remember to tune in tomorrow for a follow-up on that. We'll have more information coming in as the day goes on, and we'll report that to you tomorrow. But in this festive holiday season, I wish you all a great, happy Monday, and remember, stay safe, stay strong, and stay tuned to the Kaiser Report for commentary and news as it happens, and we'll keep you posted. Bye-bye now.